Something that I've wanted to mess around with for a long time but haven't had time to do so until now has been GPS modes and Betaflight. And I guess maybe not even just Betaflight, but the Betaflight, the clean flight branches in general. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Betaflight with their GPS rescue mode, play around with that, and then I'm going to use that to kind of step up and try out like iNav, where I've got kind of some semi-autonomous drone flying and that sort of thing. And I'm really excited about playing around with both of those. But I think the best place for me to start, because I have a lot more experience with Betaflight, would be to get GPS rescue mode working. So before we get to anything else, we need a quad. Let's get to building. Okay, just going to try to give you guys a quick build overview of this drone. It may look a little wet, and I'm not going to lie to you, it is definitely because I crushed it in the mud before I was able to film this part of the video, kind of doing the build overview, but don't worry, it's all fine. This is the Brain FPV GPS. It's sitting up here on the back. This is the first and only GPS mode module that I've even really tried, so I can't really say if it's great or bad or anything like that, but it's worked really well so far. I got a true RC, little axi, a little stubby antenna, not stubby, but actually super long antenna. We have the crossfire diversity, so you can see both crossfire antennas, and then these use 7-inch HQ 7x4x3 props. The motor that I've got on here is the T motor. I believe this is an F80 Pro 1800 kV motor. Not my favorite, just were the motors that I had sitting around that I figured would work for this. This is a 5-cell setup on 7-inch, not a 6-cell. Okay, we'll pop it open and show you what's inside. Okay, so, and then inside, this is a TBS Unify Pro 32 HV. This is the one that goes up to like 1.1 or 1.2 watts or something like that. It's nuts. Big old cap. This is the TBS Crossfire Diversity. Really solid receiver, double connection link, all that good stuff. Underneath it is the Brain FPV Radix, super dirty. We'll zoom it in here so you can see just how dirty it is. And then I have a Hobbywing G60 or G2 60 amp 4-in-1 ESC under there. And then I'm testing out the new Runcam Racer 3, so all the footage that you're going to see from this drone will be with the Runcam Racer 3. Looking so good. Okay, now that you've seen the build, we've got to go and set up a bunch of settings to make sure that GPS rescue mode is going to work right. Okay, and then the final thing that I want to run you through is the settings that I've got set up on this. So if you go into the drone and start with the ports tab, I've got UART 3 set as the serial RX, which is kind of standard from Brain. UART 1 is the TBS smart audio, and then UART 6 here is the GPS. I had problems when I used UART 4 for some reason, not totally sure I understand why, but so I had to move the GPS to 6, and I had this set to auto, but then it set itself to 57600 after I set it to that and saved. So then if you bump over to configuration, you can scroll down, you can see that I turned GPS on. Protocol for the TBS, or sorry, for the Brain FPV receiver is ublocks, autobot, autoconfig, autodetect, all that stuff, save and reboot. And as soon as I did that, the GPS turned on when the battery was plugged in. And then under advanced mode or expert mode in the GPS mode, you'll see all of that information pop up when the battery is plugged in. I had to move my quad outside a couple times to go see it. So like I would take a laptop out and go find it that way. But then I also went into Failsafe. And under Failsafe, you can see the settings for the GPS recovery mode. And so under GPS, or under Failsafe, looking at these settings, I've put basically clicked it into GPS rescue mode. My maximum angle, so like that's the angle that it flies back at, is 32 degrees. The initial altitude in meters is the altitude that it will jump to as soon as you click it into the GPS rescue mode. So I have it set to go to 80 meters, where like 120 is like the legal ceiling. The descent distance is the distance at which it will start to descend towards you. So like it'll go to 80 meters, it'll stay at 80 meters, fly back to you at 80 meters, and then it will start descending at 50. The ground speed is 20 meters per second, which is pretty reasonable. Throttle minimum at 1100, throttle maximum at 1600. Throttle hover, you kind of have to guess on that. I probably need to move that up. And then the minimum number of satellites that will allow you to use it is 8. So that is, those are my settings for this. Okay, that's all of the settings that we're using to make sure this is working. I'm not sure if I have all of this right. We'll find out. But now we're going to take it out into the field and see what actually happens. Hey, I know you wouldn't believe it, but if you actually like and comment on this video, it's a huge benefit for me. It helps YouTube promote this video more. It wants to see people talking. So if you could just do me a huge favor and just go leave some sort of comment, like the video, that'd be super great. We're continuing to test the Betaflight GPS recovery mode. I don't want to do that testing anywhere near like my normal spots, which kind of have some houses like not close, but within a good range. So I'm going to go to an old spot that I haven't been to in a while called what is it called? Perfect Praise Promise Road Elementary. That's really funny. Where there's like a couple miles just straight of farm field that I can fly out over, and then when I hit that button, there's no chance of it ending up over top of something that it shouldn't. So that'll be the perfect place to test it. So we got to drive over there, and we'll give it a shot. Alright, before we get going, I want to double check some settings here on the long range rig, make sure I totally understand what is going to happen when I push this switch. Okay, so I go into Betaflight, and I go to expert mode, and go into Failsafe. No, not Failsafe. CLI. Get GPS rescue. Okay, so GPS rescue angle 32, so it's going to fly back at a maximum of 32 degrees. Initial altitude is 80 meters, so as soon as I click the switch, it's going to go from whatever altitude it's at to 80 meters. GPS rescue descent distance is 50 meters, so it's going to fly back until it's about 50 meters away from home, and then it's going to drop. And then GPS rescue landing altitude is 5 meters. So I'm not going to let it try to land. I'm just going to let it get close. GPS rescue ground speed is 2,000. I don't know what that means exactly. And then the rest of it's pretty basic stuff. So that's what we're going to do. This is the rig we're going to be using here for this. It's the Project 399 7-inch version. Got a GoPro on there. It's got its brain GPS on the back. There's a radix inside. We're just going to strap a battery onto the bottom because it's a little bit more convenient for me on with the GPS there. And then we're here at Promise Road, which is pretty much, it's an elementary school just completely in the middle of nowhere. Like there's just nothing around. So I've got a solid half mile before that building, and I can go to the corners. So if I only need to get out, what did I say? 200 meters before I can kick this thing in. So I'll go out like 400, hit the switch, and let it attempt to come home to me. So we'll give it a go. So I have it configured on my radio here. Is this switch right here on the back is a momentary switch.
So as long as I'm holding that, it will be in return to home, or not return to home, but whatever you call it. And then as soon as I let go, it will go back to normal flight mode. So that's kind of my plan of attack. I'm just going to fly it out, hold down that momentary, and see what happens. Not really see what happens, but you know, I know what's gonna happen. But if something doesn't go right, then I guess it becomes a see what happens kind of thing. Another thing that I'm looking forward to is I'm testing out this Pyro drone antenna still. Still hate that color of the plastic, but that's okay. I haven't really done any like somewhat range with this. I'm really only going out like a half mile or so. So that's not really that great of a test, but at least we'll get some information more on that. But yeah, I think we're good to go. Let's just throw in a battery and try this out. Go ahead and just plug it in now so that the GPS is starting to pick up. Alright, there we go. Got some video. DVR is recording, so we'll be able to pull that in later. We got 8 satellites. I think that was my minimum command. Okay, now we're up to 11 already. Alright, let's give this a go. Okay. Make sure everything's still rolling. On the DVR especially. Here we go. It's a little bit windy. Some rain or water out there, that's great. Okay, so we're now 500 feet from home. Some birdies. They're just hanging out. Turn back. Our arrow's not pointing exactly where I thought it would. Latitude, longitude down on the bottom. Alright, before we get to this road, I'm going to go ahead and hit the switch. Let's see, what's our altitude right now? I'm going to descend a little ways so that we're below what our altitude said it would be. And 3, 2, 1, switch. Okay, I am now hands off. It's climbing to 120 feet, 140 feet, 200 feet. 200 feet is 80 meters or so. Got somebody pulling up behind me here. And I'm just letting it go. It's still cruising its way back. It's kind of like bobbling up and down. And now it's coming all the way back. I'm gonna go ahead and take control. I just let off my switch. How you doing?
All right, man. Got something heavy to do today.
Okay, let's give that one more go. I'm gonna keep it low on the way out, and then once I'm out a ways, then I'm gonna hit it and see if it comes back. So like one of the things that it was supposed to do is if you go to a certain altitude, it's gonna go back to that altitude. It's gonna go to your maximum altitude point, and then it's gonna drop. So I'm curious to see if I go all the way over there and then stay low and then click it, will it go all the way up? And then I'll do the reverse and I'll go really high, like 100 meters, which is like 350 feet. Click the button and see where it goes to. So I'm just keeping it on the deck on the way out. And there's enough wind that I'm just flying sideways. Okay, so now I'm out 1,300 feet. I'm gonna just click the switch without doing anything. Switch clicked, hands off. Well, off-ish. So I was at like 20, 30 feet. Now it's climbing to 170, 100, 200. Not sure why it goes quite that high. I don't think it needs to go that high, but it's really pushing that battery. I jumped up to 370 feet. It seems like the altitude management is a little weird. Now it's hitting 300 and it's starting to descend. I'm just gonna leave it on for a bit and see what it does. It's leveling out now. And it's kind of toilet bowling altitude down to 230 feet, 240. It's continuing to go lower. Just kind of watching it out of curiosity. It's up over there. It's within, I'd say, 50 meters of home. And it's just slowly dropping here and there. Now it's pretty much straight overhead. And then it wanted to just cancel it there. I saw it say rescue NA. So that was because it's too close. So if I get over here, kind of by me, does it say rescue NA? What happens if I hit the switch here? Oh, it just disarms. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so I was right next to me and I flipped the switch into rescue mode to see what it would do. And it literally just disarmed. So that's good to know. Don't hit rescue switch when you're near yourself because it's just gonna disarm. Okay, no harm done, just a little bit of mud. But yeah, that's good to know. So within a certain range, if you hit the rescue switch, it's just gonna disarm. So now what I wanna test, because I have it set up to failsafe into GPS rescue mode, is I wanna go out a ways and just turn off my radio. I'm willing to put that to the test for you guys here today. And I hope it doesn't come back, and in case it does, I brought some extra shoes, so I have to go hiking. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and shut the radio off completely, see what it does, and then hopefully we'll be able to restore, get connection back, and then bring it in for a safe landing. Okay, so plan of attack. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna stay relatively low so that if it does crash, I'm not super sad. And then I will basically just turn off my radio right here and see if it just goes into rescue mode and starts flying back, or if it just drops or whatever. But I have it set to be GPS rescue mode to those same parameters that we just saw when it fail safe. So this was not a fail safe switch, it was pulling into, maybe I should just set up a fail safe switch. Yeah, let's do that instead of turning off the radio. We'll do it one step to the other. So I'll do a fail safe switch to test that out, and then I'll do a full radio shutdown.
What's your channel?
It's nurk.tv, N-U-R-K.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah?
You actually look familiar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. It's like just all drone racing and stuff like that. Okay, here goes version 2. So I have set up a failsafe switch for sure. So basically, if I pull this switch down, it's going to go into failsafe mode. And the failsafe is set to do the return to home. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fly out, I'm gonna put it in failsafe, it's gonna fly back, hopefully. And then I'm gonna take control again, I'm gonna fly out, and I'm gonna shut off my radio. And that will force a failsafe, and it's gonna be coming back without, as if it didn't have RC link, which is really, really cool. So let's give it a go. But I have the ability to take back over at any time. Going out 500 foot. Got 17 satellites. That seems like a good quantity, especially out here in the middle of nowhere. All right, so I'm gonna put it into that mode, into failsafe mode. 3, 2, 1. So I'm gonna get lower first. So I'm gonna find a marker somewhere where if it does just drop, I can go get it. Okay, so right at the corner of this field is where I am, nice and low. 3, 2, 1, failsafe. Oh! So it started to drop for a second and then picked itself up and went. So it got a little low there at first, but now it's coming back. So I'm gonna switch it back into control mode. Okay, so now I have it. Fascinating. That was a little scary because it just kind of dropped for a second. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna turn off the radio completely. So again, hovering, 62 feet. I'm just kind of maintaining altitude, and boom, radio's off. I no longer have control. Uh-oh. Oh, it's still trying. Shoot. Okay, so it does not work that way, unlike I thought. Okay, now it's disarmed finally. Let's see if I can turtle mode it. That would be really convenient. Nope. Alright, we're walking. That was not good. That was definitely not what I expected. So I figured because it went into failsafe mode, it would just and come back just like it did. But that time when I failsafed it, it just nosedived and then didn't recover at all. And it took forever to do it. So like I wonder if I had a setting wrong or something, but now we gotta go get it. But that's why I chose to come out here in the middle of nowhere to test this. And I brought an extra pair of shoes just in case this happened, because it's a little muddy out there. I don't feel dumb, because like I'm planning to see what happens with what stuff, but I'm a little disappointed. I don't want to try it with more altitude, because like maybe there was a point at which it would take over, but yeah, I don't want to break that rig. All right, let's go for a walk. That could have been bad. That could have been bad. That could have been bad. I hope we're not in a puddle. That would really suck. Well, she's still on. Definitely chewed up some grass. It was armed for a little bit longer than it was supposed to be. Okay. GoPro stop. GPS got booped off, but it's should be fine. Unplug this. That wasn't quite as bad before. Now it's in pretty bad shape. I think she's really not too worse for wear, honestly. I think we can take it back and plug it back in. It'll still fly. I'm super glad I thought ahead of time to kind of like pick a landmark. So like there's kind of those bushes out there that I was gonna be flying at least somewhat close to when or if it went down. So I got a little bit hairy. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna go check those failsafe settings. I think I'm gonna try it again because I'm just genuinely curious. See if I can get the working the way see if I can get it working the way that I want it to. Maybe try it with a little more altitude. And yeah, I don't know. I just want to see it work. All right, this will be our first test hover after that crash. Oh no. Okay. Well, I guess we're done. Oh wait, no. Yeah, it looks like the couple of the leads came off that motor. We can fix that really quick. Okay, that should do it. All right, test flight 2. That looks better. I was worried that I may not have said failsafe set correctly on my Crossfire, so I've turned that on now. There's a little bit of a delay in the system from that on purpose. So having that on, I think, is gonna make a bit of a difference. I also held the failsafe, or like the return to home switch when I turned off the Crossfire. So we'll go up high, actually a little bit higher than we were last time, and maybe have it going up at an upward trajectory, and then failsafe it and just try it again. Hopefully it doesn't plummet to the ground again. Okay, here we go again. So again, just hitting failsafe mode on the switch. Why did it do that? It just dropped out of the air again when it hit RX loss. Shoot. Oh, I'm a miserable failure. So it seems like there's maybe some sort of delay that, which I had set to 0.4 seconds. That was that 0.4 seconds? Like that, I didn't turn the radio off on that one. I did what I did the first time where I just clicked the switch. And it did drop, but it didn't I thought it picked up before that. And now it's starting to rain a little bit, which is kind of annoying. All right, if this is not dead, we're gonna try it with a bunch more altitude. And we're gonna put it in a puddle this time. Oh, that was pretty close. Looks like we managed to avoid it for the most part. Ugh. Great. Okay, this is our last attempt. Okay, radio is definitely not happy. It's about to die, so it's going to be our last attempt at this. Alright, we got 17. We're going to fly up to, let's give it 300 feet. And radio off. Come on, bud. Nope. Still not working. Well, let's go get that. And I'm expecting like an impact crater. What did I say? 350 feet? Oh. Relatively safe landing, I suppose. Nasty. GoPro's still recording, that's good. All the power was on. Just got a little bit of gumbledy-gook. That'll buff out. Not so bad, but still, jeez. What am I doing wrong? Well, this might end up being a two-parter. Part one is me failing miserably. Maybe part two is me actually getting it. So maybe you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to post this video as it is. With this miserable failure. And then hopefully somebody will come in and just be like, yo, you dumb butt, this is what you need to do. And then I can do that. Try it, figure out. And then give whoever figures it out for me a big old shout out on the part two. But yeah, man, it's still been fun. Like, it was really cool to see it, like, when I hit the switch, really cool to see it come back, you know, under control, which would be like, say, like, I had video loss, I could hit the button, and then it would start coming back to me, so that I could at least get video recovery. But I want to have that full semi-autonomous mode where when I completely lose control and video, or just control, it'll just go whoop, whoop, and come back. So like, say I'm, you know, on the mountains of Colorado or something, and I accidentally, you know, go behind a cliff face or something that I won't have control behind. The drone knows to just whoosh, take off and come back relatively unscathed. So anyway, I've had a ton of fun experimenting with GPS rescue mode. I'd like to hope that you guys learned something today, but you probably didn't, because I'm a miserable failure. But yeah, thanks for joining me on this little bit of an adventure, a little bit of a hike, and stay flying.